Hare
Ram
Krishna, Seventh.
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram Hare
Hare
Hare.
Ram, Hare Ram.
So the discussion between Jada Bharat and Maharaj Rahugana. In this chapter, Bharat Maharaj, now Jada Bharat, was successfully accepted by King Rahugana. Rahugana, ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Sauvir. The king forced Jada Bharat to carry his palanquin and chastised him because he did not carry it properly. A carrier of King Rahuguna's palanquin was needed, and to fulfill this need, the chief carriers found Jadbharat as the most likely person to do the work. He was therefore forced to carry the palanquin. Jadbharat, however, did not protest this proud order, but humbly accepted the job and carried the palanquin. While carrying it, however, he was very careful to see that it did not step on an ant, and whenever he saw one, he would stop until the ant had passed. Because of this, he could not keep pace with other carriers. The king within the palanquin became very disturbed and chastised Jadabharat with filthy language. But Jadbharat, being completely freed from the bodily conception, did not protest. He proceeded carrying the palanquin. When he continued as before, the king threatened him with punishment. And being threatened by the king, Jadabharat began to talk. He protested against the filthy language used by the king when the king chastised him. And the king, hearing the instructions of Jadabharat, was awakened to his real knowledge. When he came to his consciousness, he understood that he had offended a great, learned, and saintly person. At that time, he very humbly and respectfully prayed to Jadabharat. He now wanted to understand the deep meaning of the philosophical words used by Jadabharat. And with great sincerity, he begged his pardon. He admitted that if one offends the lotus feet of a pure devotee, he is certainly punished by the trident of Lord Shiva. Okay. So Jada Bharat was chastised by King Rahugana for not carrying the palanquin properly. And why was he not carrying the palanquin properly? Because what?
He didn't want to step on ants.
He did not want to step on the ants. And one time he rebuked him. I mean, he warned him, right? What first time he warned him, but he did not change Jada Bharat. Then second time he again the same thing happened. Then he threatened him with punishment. And then Jada Bharat started speaking. And then that's what we are going to hear in this chapter. And Rahugana understood Jada Bharat's position as a great saintly person. And he said, I'm afraid of committing offense to you because you are a pure devotee. And those who commit offenses are punished by the trident of Lord Shiva. Okay, so the next verse, first verse we'll see. So this is the summary of the chapter. Shukdev Goswami continued, My dear king, after this, King Rahugana, the ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Sauvir, was going to Kapil Ashram. When the king's chief palanquin carriers reached the banks of the river Ikshumati, they needed another carrier. Therefore, they began searching for someone, and by chance they came upon Jad Bharat. They considered the fact that Jad Bharat was very young and strong and had firm limbs. Like cows and asses, he was quite fit to carry loads. Thinking in this way, although the great soul Jad Bharat was unfit for such work, they nonetheless unhesitatingly forced him to carry the palanquin. So Jada Bharat was very spiritually advanced, and he would not be recognized as a very spiritual person because of his behavior. And he was roaming around like an avadut. So it was difficult to understand him, his position. And so they got him as a palanquin carrier. He was not supposed to do this kind of work. He was meant to preach, right? He was not supposed to do work as a Shudra to, carry the palanquin of King Rahugana. So, but they forced him, and he did not protest. Okay. Any comments on this verse? So we'll go to the next verse. So Brahmanas are supposed to be like guiding the society. They're not meant to do like Shudra kind of work where they are supposed to work with machines in an industry and do all these kind of things. So he was a Vaishnava. He was meant to guide the society. Of course, in the service of Krishna, no work is considered Shudra or like that. But here, he was supposed to carry the palanquin, just like ordinary laborers do for King Rahugana. And he was also very humble. He never thought himself very proud, and he did this service of king, carrying the king. But when the king got upset, that's when he revealed his knowledge. Yeah. So, okay. So, the next verse. The palanquin, however, was very erratically carried by Jada due to his sense of non-violence. As he stepped forward, he checked before him every 3 feet to see whether he was about to step on ants. Consequently, he could not keep pace with other carriers. Due to this, the palanquin was shaking, and King Rahugana immediately asked the carriers, "Why are you carrying the palanquin unevenly? Better carry it properly." Okay, so he was checking down on ahead and also whether he was stepping on the ants. Although Jada was forced to carry the palanquin, he did not give up his sympathetic feelings towards the poor ants passing on the road. So he did not want to cause harm to even the ants. Even though he was very, very qualified and very exalted, still he still he cared about the insignificant ants. Right? For him, the ants were not insignificant. We may think, oh, these ants were insignificant, but he was seeing them as spirit souls. And why would he be the cause of, like, when somebody puts their feet upon you and crushes you, how would you feel? Like, of course, has to be a very big person, like that Vritrasur, he did like that. So very big Rakshasa, he just crushes you. It's what the ants would feel when you put your feet on them. So he was sympathetic. He could feel what the ants would feel. So
Same thing is there in Mrigari's case also, right?
Mrigari also, correct.
When Narad Muni came and he had transformed. Earlier he was killing animals half dead, but when he started chanting the holy name, his heart became compassionate and soft. And so when Narad Muni came to meet him, he was jumping
Yeah,
towards the opponents.
so devotee is very sensitive. Is very sensitive to how others feel, and he doesn't want to harm or cause distress to others. So he's very sensitive to others' feeling. And here he was going to crush them under his feet. So, so hurt can be done physically, it can be done by words, it can be done by, yeah, so words or physical. hurt. So he doesn't want to cause hurt to anybody. Yasman no
So, like,
dvijayati lokano.
yeah, Jad Bharat's father, he was trying to teach him Brahmanica principles and he was behaving oddly, knowingly. But that would have given distress to his father.
Hmm.
So, how can we understand that? That the devotee does not give distress to anybody.
Yeah, it was for a higher purpose, but right. I mean, that's that same thing. Like if somebody leaves their family and joins the Hare Krishna movement, it causes distress to the family.
Mm.
But for a higher purpose, right? He had a higher purpose in his mind. Actually, he was trying to be very careful. For a higher purpose, he was not like there was no intention in his heart to cause them. He was just trying to protect himself. So it was not like with intentional, willfully he was trying to cause anybody pain. Right? So he was just trying to take care of his spiritual life so that he would not get attached. And yeah, but his father also, like, he was not. I mean, sometimes it's described as devotee, but he did not understand Jada Bharat. So we don't have to like
We can't please everybody.
we can't please if you want to chant Hare Krishna and somebody says, oh no, don't chant Hare Krishna. Your family says, don't chant Hare Krishna. Don't do this. Don't do that. Then service to Krishna comes first. Then pleasing any family members or anything like that. So we can't say, yeah, I will to please you. I will not chant Hare Krishna. So that's not like that. But amongst devotees, when there are devotees, there also we are sensitive to others' feelings and we don't cause any pain to others. So, of course, knowingly and willfully. So, Maitra Karuna Ivacha, right? What is that? Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, Maitra Karuna Ivacha. So, friendly with everybody and not causing pain to others unnecessarily, right? So, okay. So Jada Bharat was forced to carry the palanquin. He did not give up his sympathetic feelings towards the poor ants passing on the road. Of course, in this world, it is not possible to live completely sinless, right? Because we are walking, we cannot always look down, and we are driving. Many animals can come in front of our car. It happened one time with me, so it is very sad. But what to do? It is beyond our control. So how can we become free from that karma? At least we are doing that activity for Lord's service. That's the only way, right? Everything you do is for the Lord's service. Then whatever, you're driving and you're killing some ants or something like that, then you're not responsible. But if you are going and using your car in your for your own enjoyment, going to some place which is not related to Krishna, and then you are getting the reaction. So it is not possible to be completely sinless. The Jains, they do like that, right? They'll sweep the road in front of them before they walk. They will wear this what they call mask, so that don't want to inhale anything like that. But completely, it's not possible. You are eating something, so they are also when you. That's why they don't eat after sunset, because they think that after sunset when we light, or they don't cook maybe after sunset, because then a lot of some microorganisms like will be coming, and if you light the fire then they will be killed, something like that. So they don't eat root edible roots, because they think the whole potato's life is taken. So they try to be non-violent as much as possible. But the other thing is that they don't know the Supreme Lord and how to please Him because they are not coming in a bona fide parampara. There was a deviation, right? We have read about this. Deviation happened for Rishabdev's. So, a devotee of the Lord does not forget his devotional service and other favorable activities. So, if we have offended somebody, then we just say sorry. If our intention was not to offend anybody, but somehow that person got offended, then we go and say sorry. A devotee of the Lord does not forget his devotional service and other favorable activities, even when he is in a most distressful condition. So it was a very difficult situation for him to carry the palanquin, but he was always remembering Krishna and seeing through the eyes of Shastra, even in the distressful condition. That's a pure devotee. He never forgets the Lord, even in distress. Like we see Srila Prabhupada, even in his distressful condition. And last, he was like speaking about Bhagavatam, speaking the purports to Bhagavatam. So very advanced devotees, they remember the Lord. And he was remembering the Lord, but he was also remembering, like you may say, well, this is not devotional service to save the ants. No, but he was seeing them as part and parcel of Krishna. The others, not only Krishna was he remembering, but he was also careful not to hurt the ants. Jada Bharat was a qualified Brahmana, highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, yet he was forced to carry the palanquin. He did not mind this, but while walking on the road, he could not forget his duty to avoid killing even an ant. A Vaishnava is never envious or unnecessarily violent. There were many ants on the path, but Jada Bharat took care by looking ahead 3 feet. So Adveshta, he has no envy for anybody, not unnecessarily violent. Means when there is violence necessary, like Arjuna, because Krishna wanted him, then he was violent, but unnecessarily violent. Prabhupada says it's not necessary. When the ants were no longer in his way, he would place his foot on the ground. A Vaishnava is always very kind at heart to all living entities and well wisher, Suridas Sarvadehina, very kind to all living entities. In his Sankhya Yoga, Lord Kapila Dev explains Suridas Sarvadehina. That is, which verse is that? Suridas Sarvadehina. How does it start? Suridas Sarvadehina.
Ajat Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushanam. Shantini
Titikshava.
Titikshava Karunika Suridas Sarvati.
So, well wishing to everybody. Living entities assume different bodily forms. Those who are not Vaishnavas consider only human society worthy of their sympathy. But Krishna claims to be the Supreme Father of all life forms. Yeah, so people have very much great regard for human life, but not for animals. But Krishna claims to be the Supreme Father of all life forms. Consequently, the Vaishnava takes care not to annihilate untimely or unnecessarily any life form. All living entities have to fulfill a certain duration for being encaged in a particular type of material body. They have to finish the duration allotted a particular body before being promoted or evolved to another body. Killing an animal or any other living being simply places an impediment in the way of his completing his term of imprisonment in a certain body. One should therefore not kill bodies for one's sense gratification, for this will implicate one in sinful activity. So, according to karma, all those lower species of life, they are supposed to live in that, or even any other living being, they are supposed to live. That's why murder is considered sinful. Of course, you may say, well, it's karma also for that person to be killed. So then why would it considered sinful? But for you, yeah, the person who is doing it. For them, it is sinful. That person is getting the results of his whatever is past, but you may be incurring new karma by killing that person. So we don't know. It's all karma is very complex. So we should not kill nor harm anybody for one's own sense gratification. So this will create sinful activity, implicate one in sin. Okay, so that's the verse here. Any other thing that on this verse you
And
want
the
to say?
question comes then if we have some, mice, like, or some ants or some insects in the house, making it unclean. So we have to kill them, right?
Yeah, better to catch them in. Like, they are mouse traps, right? What do the mouse gets caught and then you with my grandmother's home. They had in India, so they had that mouse trap. The mouse would be caught, and then the next morning, if there was a mouse caught, they would go and release it some place distant. That's one thing. The second thing is that you have to keep your house clean, so it does not attract all this thing. That's also there. And in spite of all these things, and that's unavoidable, then yeah, you have to do whatever is necessary because you in temple you cannot have like all these mice and everything because they cause disease.
Our temple has that.
Is it?
Yeah. We saw yesterday one bag of atta was eaten by mice, and those who are living in the temple, they know that there are mice there.
So we have to. I'll bring it up to the.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the next verse. When the palanquin carriers heard the threatening words of Maharaja Rahugana, they became very afraid of his punishment and began to speak to him as follows. So he didn't know who was the culprit, why the palanquin was not moving smoothly. According to political science, a king sometimes tries to pacify his subordinates, sometimes chastises them, sometimes divides them, and sometimes rewards them. In this way, the king rules his subordinates. What is that word? Sometimes tries to pacify his subordinates, sometimes chastises them, sometimes divides them, and sometimes rewards them. What is that? We say,
Uh, uh, Danda, how does it start?
Sam Dam
Sam Dam Danda Bhed.
Danda Bhed. So, Danda is to chastise. Sam Dam Dand. Bhed means to create differences. To make your enemy weak, you can, like Britishers did this, divide and rule. And then, yeah, to pacify them, maybe Dam, and rewards them, maybe Sam. So, so you bribe them or you reward them so they will become quiet. But they say that is lust is an enemy, but the one only thing that works with lust is the danda. Other things don't work. When nothing works, then you have to show danda. So in this way, so our mind, like mind, we have to show danda to the mind. Like in the morning, we say, beat the mind with the shoe. In evening, beat it with shoe
With
and
a broom, with a broom.
broomstick. Yeah. So you have to chastise yourself And that's how, when you are critical of yourself, then you can improve. If you are not critical of yourself, then you can't improve. Normally, we are critical of others, but we have to be critical of ourselves. What what are the wrong things, and we have to be critical. We have to self-analyze, and then from that there'll be correction. Otherwise, if we think I'm perfect and whatever I'm doing is perfect, everything is perfect, then we cannot improve. We cannot repent. We cannot reform. We cannot recognize our mistakes. And so that's how, like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, right? Introspect and find faults in yourself. Faults in
And,
others.
yeah, and faults in others misguide you and delude you. Have patience, introspect, and find faults in yourself. Know that no one else can harm you other than yourself.
So first find faults in ourselves, and they say those who live in glass houses should not throw stones at others. So that's how it is. So first we have to correct ourselves before we correct. Like they say, be the change that you want to see in the world. So first, charity begins at home, right? And all these things. Okay, so the next verse. O Lord, and Prabhupada said, right, we have to be concerned about we have to fly our own plane. Everybody has to fly their plane. So we have to be, of course, Vaishnava means compassionate to others. But we can't, even Krishna cannot force us. He does not interfere with our free will. He does not force us. He tells us everything, but he's not forcing us. So,
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so material life, it is very difficult to find faults in ourselves all the time. If you are only living spiritual life, is easy. But if we, as soon as we go into material life, we face a lot of, obstacles. Like people are really not behaving as we expect. I mean, like we are not, we should not expect, but it happen in material life that they are not humble. What we practice in spiritual life.
means others are not behaving well with us. Is that what you're saying?
Right, yeah. And then it's really hurts us because all the time we find fault in ourselves is not reality. It's not
Uh,
like always works like that.
I mean, somebody, so non devotees are like behaving like that.
Yeah, because we have to face in material life, we have to face non-devotee. Most of them, they don't practice what we practice, here.
Hmm.
Even they are devotee with other places, but they don't have that philosophy.
Yeah, so if they are like, but how are they affecting you in your, I mean, you have to, do your sadhana. They are not like,
And
right.
sometimes we feel like that we are like, so stupid because, I mean, kind of they judge you in a different way.
Hmm.
So we feel hurt. So
Oh,
we have to like
but
show them that, I'm also something, I'm not going to tolerate this.
hmm, I think Radhika was saying yesterday, right? We have to think what Krishna is thinking about us, not what other people are thinking about us. So that's Jada Bharat was also like that. He didn't care what others are thinking about him. Uh,
Mm.
so it's not like, yeah, what devotees think about us, that's more important than non devotees. They don't know anything about spirituality, nothing. They
Mm.
have their. So if see, this also comes because we want to be praised by others. So that's the anartha in us. That's why we get affected when somebody criticizes us, because we feel that why should they criticize us? They should be praising us. So
Mm.
so we can correct ourselves. You say, no, I don't need. Uh, I'm not humble enough. I should not be expecting from them like kind behavior or anything like that. So that I will be glorified or anything like that, or they'll agree with me. So when we don't have that expectation from others, then we will not feel hurt. So that's, um, and if somebody is like disturbing us, then we can keep a distance and we can maintain a respectful distance. They
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, we don't have to like you know everyday talk and like get disturbed, because we have to also be peaceful, because without being peaceful then we can't practice Krishna consciousness. So if it disturbs our peace, then we keep a distance. And actually, we are told we are not supposed to associate with non-devotees. There is
Yeah,
twice in the, unless they are like going to for preaching. Yeah, you tell them and there, but otherwise, we are not supposed to. Twice it is said in the nectar of instruction what is favorable and what is not favorable for
but
both groups.
our family members, other like extended family member, they are not devotees. Even at work, also people are, other co-worker, they are not devotees. So we have to face so many.
But for them, with the with workers at our work, we can have a business dealing, right? We are not going to tell them about our, yeah,
Even
we have
our
some
family
project.
member, besides,
Huh?
our own family, other family member, that they are not the non-devotees. So their thinking is totally different. They think their thinking is material way, everything.
Hmm.
So
But family members, though, they are not living with you all the time, right? So
yeah,
sometimes you have to.
sometimes we have to make lot of decision overall all together. Like we have some things, that we have to decide together. So that time it's like difficult to think spiritually all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can have access, like I have many cousins, right? But it's
Right.
not like I have. They live their life and I am living my life, and we
But
only
you gave up a lot of things.
hardly
Like you
interact.
don't
Huh?
appreciate them so much, right? You gave up, like you don't go into their function and everything. For us, we are still doing all these things, following. Like they invite us, we go there and everything.
Yeah, so after some time, if you don't go, then they will understand. And
Yeah,
function is once in a while, right? It's not every day. It's maybe once a year or
yeah.
something like that. Maybe some marriage is happening. You have to go 1 or 2 days.
Hmm.
So it's fine. You go and you chant Hare Krishna there if you want to maintain the relationship. But otherwise, it's not like you have to be around them. And because ultimately life is short and you have to fly your own plane. Everybody has to fly their plane.
Yeah.
So everything will end in a few years. And we are already like advanced in age, right? So we are not going to live double our age or anything like that. More than 50, 60% of our life is over. So it's only few years now. So according to the Varnashram also, at certain age, you're meant to be like separate from, you're meant to be more spiritual after 50. They say if you live 100 years, then at 50, but we don't live 100 years. So considering that we live 80 years, then 40 years. At 40, we are at half of the life when it's over. We are
Hmm.
supposed to be like more absorbed in God consciousness. That's how, because now death is coming close. So then we cut out all the unnecessary activities that's not required and engage more in service of Krishna. Like, that's the ideal how it should be, right? So
Thank you.
yeah, and we can't please everybody, right? So everybody, yeah, has their own way of thinking. So okay, 5:10:4. Oh Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire, but this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. So others are saying, it is not us, it is this person. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him. The other palanquin carriers were Shudras, whereas Jada was not only a high caste Brahmana but also a great devotee. Shudras do not sympathize with other living beings, but a Vaishnava cannot act like a Shudra. Whenever Shudra and Brahmana Vaishnava are combined, there will be certainly be imbalance in the execution of duties. The Shudras were walking with the palanquin without at all caring for the ants on the ground, but Jada could not act like a Shudra, and therefore difficulty arose. So the mentalities are different, and that's why it was not working out. The Prabhupada is saying Shudras don't care about all the ants, about hurting, and but Jada was sensitive, so he was careful. And so, okay, any comments on this
That's why we have compatibility match.
verse?
Uh, that's also the Varna, and in the marriage there is this who is a Brahmana. I mean, by birth they have some astrological. So some characteristics are there, natures.
Yeah, the Swabhava is there from past life. Everybody has a Swabhava, which can be changed by Krishna consciousness, but it's not so easy to change that Swabhava. Generally speaking, I mean, if one becomes very devoted to Krishna, then anything can change. But yeah, so that's what I think you are saying about, right? If some family members are not spiritually inclined and some are inclined, then it causes like a tension, and then
Right. Yep.
yeah, okay, so
In such cases, the only thing we can apply is tolerance.
tolerance, yeah.
Because this is something, because we, as a family member, we all together because of our own karma,
Hmm.
right? So just to tolerate, and we already often say that you all just, sorry, um, that in this journey is change of your internal consciousness, not the external one. So if you are doing anything, if you are in any situation or any work, anything, if you are internally connected to Krishna or chanting his name, so everything he will make the ways, because our job is to do the practice, and excuse me, with lot of I mean, we can do our with dedication, we can do our part, our endeavor, but everything is in Krishna's hand. So if one Maharaj was saying that if you are sincere and if you are serious, so he will make the way. How one can come to me, whom you to meet. He will make all the arrangements if you are sincere and serious. So that is the thing we can apply in our life. And internally, we can change our consciousness. Um, there are so many people, I'm talking about myself also, that you are not single devotee around you. Like, how can you just, you cannot run from one place to another place, or you cannot just complain about all these situations, because we are in this material because of our own work, own karma. So it's better to just tolerate and try to engage ourselves. That is the best way. I mean, that's what I think.
And we should have a good faith in Krishna, I think. We have to,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that is the main thing, faith.
Yeah, so
And others may change with your association. I've heard from like their husbands or wives were not devotees, but being in the association of devotees, they also get transformed. And yeah, their nature start matching. And when we pray to Krishna, Krishna can transform somebody. But Prabhupada also says if somebody is an obstacle in your path of Krishna consciousness, then you can give up that relationship for a higher purpose, just a relationship with Krishna. Ultimately, it depends on how determined you are in progressing in Krishna consciousness. So if somebody is an obstacle and stopping you from chanting and all, so you can give up. That's a temporary relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Prabhupada, you can say. Like it didn't work, so he just, it was creating an obstacle like for him. So they sold his manuscript. So he just said, okay, bye bye. So, but of course, it's not so easy to do that kind of thing. Also. And I think it depends on everybody's nature. Some people are by nature very tolerant. Some people say, no, I cannot I have to have peace in my life and I cannot. But yeah, if you have duties and things like that, you can't just leave them. So it's also everybody's nature is different and how much. Ramanujacharya had a problem with his wife, and that's what I think. Let me see if I can find this. So this is quarrelsome wife. One day, when Ramanuja was out, this is from Radhanath Swami. So Ramanujacharya had gone somewhere, and let's see a little bit about Ramanujacharya. His wife was drawing water from a well, and Mahapurna's wife was also there. And accidentally, a few drops from Mahapurna's wife's bucket entered into Raksha Kambala's bucket. So they were saying, "Oh, this is she's not a very high caste. This her water entered." She became very angry, Ramanujar's wife, and she became furious. She said, "You have spoiled all this water. You think I can use this water after it has touched the water from a bucket of Shudra?" So the Ramanujacharya's wife and Mahapurna's wife both were drawing water from the well, and some drops of water from Mahapurna's wife's bucket somehow entered into the Raksha Kambala, that's the wife of Ramanujacharya's bucket. She became very angry and she became furious. Oh, you have spoiled all the water. You think I can use this water after it has touched the water from bucket of a Shudra? Just because your husband has initiated us. So Mahapurna was one of the gurus of that. My husband is so crazy. We lost all our distinctions of caste. Ramanujacharya had a great this affection for Mahapurna, and she began to chastise her very severely. She said, "Now all this water has to be thrown away. It's all a waste because of your carelessness." Mahapurna's wife was very humble and very shy, so she didn't say anything. She just sat down and started to cry. So when her husband came back, Mahapurna asked, "What happened?" His wife told him. He said, "It is the arrangement of Lord Narayan." So he said, "Yeah, we should go back to Srirangam. This is an indication that we should not stay here any longer." So they immediately left. When Ramanujacharya returned home, he said, "Where is my guru gone?" He was looking all over, and his wife explained that I just gently chastised her for doing like this. "What, you crazy woman? You have insulted the wife of my guru? You have insulted my guru himself by considering him to be a Shudra?" He said, "You are such a sinful creature. It is a sin to even see your face." And he walked out. He was very upset by all this. Although she was a very obedient wife and always ready to help her husband in every way, and she was so beautiful. She was beautiful like an apsara and she performed all rituals. She believed in Lord Narayan, but she did not have the spirit of devotion that her husband had, the inner feelings of the essence of real devotion. Thus, she was becoming a great impediment, but she was very much upset by her husband's words. So Ramacharya tricks his wife. Shortly after this, one Brahmana was begging alms, came to the house. So one Brahmana came begging. Raksha Kambala was there. The Ramanujacharya's wife was there. Ramanujacharya was out, and when he saw this Brahmana, he said, "Brahmana, why are you looking so dejected?" When she saw this Brahmana, maybe. "You look very hungry. Did you not get nice food?" Okay, oh, Ramanujacharya is asking this Brahmana, "What happened?" that he said, I went to your house, but your wife, she was very angry and she kicked me away and called me a beggar. Ramacharya began to think very deeply for a few moments. He said, I have a plan by which my wife will feed you very nicely. He wrote a letter. He said, you bring this letter to my wife. Tell her that this letter is from her father in her native place. So he brought the letter. So this Brahmana came and brought the letter. When she heard that this man was a messenger of her father, she became very happy. Oh, you are a messenger of my father. She read the letter and she was very happy and served him all nice, wonderful prasad and then sent him on his way. Then Ramanuja came and said, she said, I have received a letter from my father, and he read. It was a letter to Ramanuja saying, my dear son. So that letter from the father of the wife, Raksha Kambala, in that letter, the letter was addressing Ramanujacharya. My dear son, your wife's sister is about to be married, and there is so much work to be done, and your mother-in-law cannot do it herself. Please, it's urgent. You must send Raksha Kambala right away. And if you can come, that is very good. But if you have some urgent business, at least send your wife immediately. So actually, Ramanujacharya had written this letter to, to get rid of the wife. So, so when, and she was very like, oh, my sister is going to get married. I have to go. So I have to go, and the father is requesting, I have to go. So Ramanuja said to his wife, I have urgent business. I cannot go now, but you should go immediately. And when you go, offer all my respects and love to your parents and to everyone and tell them, if I can take care of my business, I will come as soon as possible. So you go and you offer respects and everything, and I'll come as soon as possible. She was very happy. She packed her things and she left. And just after she left, he went to the temple of Varadaraj and said that, today I want to surrender, means Ramanujacharya went to the temple of Varadaraj and said, today I want to surrender everything to you. Today I want to completely take shelter of your lotus feet. I do not want any distraction from my service to you and from preaching your glories. Ramanujacharya, he brought saffron cloth and he made a tridanda and he went to the banks of the river, and there he started a fire to perform a fire sacrifice. And just at that time, Kanchipurna came, and Kanchipurna gave him sannyas, and he gave sannyas named Yati Raj. So while his wife was away at the father's, maybe his father was, she may have been wondering, when she reached, where is the wedding? What is this? I never wrote a letter like this. Ramanujacharya went back into the town of Kanchipuram when everyone saw that he had become a sannyasi. He was such a young man, his wife was so beautiful, and she did not even know what was happening. Some people condemned him, so people were criticizing him, right? Even Ramanujacharya. They thought he had gone mad, they thought he was crazy. But others who were more sincere understood that he is the most compassionate, most benevolent. He had given up such pleasures of such a beautiful wife. His mother had already died some time before, and people one by one started coming to seek shelter of his lotus feet. And he began preaching with such force and devotion that gradually many people were coming and coming. So anyway, that's the, so he also kind of, so sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you have to be tolerant, and if they are not obstructing you, and here, so so then they will also become devotee. There are many instances like that, when slowly and gradually them also. But we cannot imitate anybody, and we have to see what is good for us, where we are at, what is our situation, and what our consciousness is, and everything like that. So like that. Okay. Anybody sent to say anything?
I have one quote. Can I say
Go ahead.
2.7 of Bhagavad Gita? कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म समुच्चयेता
Yat Shreya.
यत् श्रेयस्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तत् मे शिष्यः अहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. So when I was reading, I gathered some information. So here Arjuna he was possessiveness for his family member, and Karpanya means lack of knowledge of self realization. And he was Kshatriya, but he didn't have that. He cannot see the long way, how things works, and he was so much attached with his family member. He is not able to perform his Kshatriya duties. And he was telling Krishna that my mind is confused. He is not able to understand dharma, fight or not to fight. Now he is asking Krishna, what is the best for me? Please tell me. I am your shishya. Please instruct me. So what I'm learning from this, that we should have a guru who knows about Shastra, and we need to get advice from guru who has a knowledge about what is right and what is wrong. So
Yeah, we need guidance.
so here he is taking Krishna's shelter. So he's believing Krishna is my guru. So we should also think like that.
Yeah, there's a Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So three things we can consult when we have dilemma on what should be done, what should not be done. Okay. Anything else? Does anybody like to say?
So I have a one question. So like what is happening in LA now? All these houses are burning. So what we would do, if we were in their shoes, like if happened to us, how we handle this situation? It's very, very horrible. It's very difficult.
Yeah, if there was fire in Ohio and our house was getting burned, we have to leave the house.
I know we have to leave the house, but it's not easy to like. We also go through same psychological trauma, right? I mean, like even we are devotees, we feel really. I mean, that time I don't think I'm able to chant or anything. I know we should chant more that time, but it's very difficult because we lost everything. Now we are totally out on the road. We don't have anything.
Mm. Yeah,
So
I think where are they all going? I mean, insurance does pay.
no, there some of them doesn't have even insurance. They say insurance was denied also.
Oh.
Some areas they don't provide insurance because insurance companies losing a lot of money.
Mm.
So it's very horrible situation. And some people have like very comfortable life. They were living nicely, and
Yeah,
suddenly it
there's
happened.
yeah, it's suddenly all these things happen. It's difficult. So for us, what will we do? Everybody's response will be different. But what will you do in that situation?
That's what I'm thinking. I think I don't. I'm not. I would not able to chant. If I have in that situation. Even small thing happen in our life. Small distress happen. Our mind gets so upset. And that impact our chanting and spiritual life also. For me, I mean, I'm not that elevated like you are all advanced.
So when actually situations happen, we'll know how things we are we are talking is easy, but I don't know. But what will let's say what will Radhika do in that situation if her house was burned down?
I was hearing Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. He's in ISKCON party, right? He's a big businessman and I don't know. He deals with stocks. So he was talking with Radhnath Maharaj that if things don't work and my business fails, Maharaj, what will I do? And so Maharaj suggested some things, and he said, if that also fails, Maharaj. So Radhanath Maharaj got very upset. He said, if everything fails, you should go to Vrindavan and live very simply there, set up a little shop or something, and just chant there, right next to Radha Kund.
Hmm. Okay.
We are from India. I mean, why we have another place to go to, and we also have ISKCON, community. So we don't need to fear as long as we are ready to live very simply and with our minimal needs.
Actually live in a temple, right? So then you can do service and
Yeah.
maybe some prasadam.
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't have any money, of course, yeah, sometimes we have to think like that. Then we can actually make spiritual advancement. That I've lost everything because we are attached to all these things. And until the situation forces us out, that's why in Vedic system it was like voluntarily. Even if your situation is good, you have to think that I have lost everything and now I have to only depend on Krishna like that. Of course, it's not so easy. We can say like that, but
So
uh,
we have to put ourselves in worst case. That worst case, what can happen, and then think,
uh,
every day
so
think like that. If something
mhm.
happen like this, then how I'm going to live?
Yeah, then in that way you make like we say, we should think we have got a disease and we are going to die soon. Then we will make spiritual advance. But obviously, in the back of our mind, we know that we have not got the disease and we are not going to die. Like that, that kind of thing is there. But
Right.
the more we think like that, that I'm going to die soon and like that, and that's what we say. When we chant, we should keep death in front. We should live our life as if time is very less. And when you feel like that, then there is like, okay, it's nothing. Then so many things, interest will go away in so many things. Because now I have to leave the world. So what else would I think of, in this world? If I have to go, then will I be thinking of getting a new car or this or that? Or because I have to go now in maybe 1 year. If I have to go like that, sometimes it happens. So then you have to just focus on Krishna. So we have to think like that, that it has already happened, the fire has already happened. It may not have happened, but of course we are not still living in the house. So
Ultimately, whatever happens is by the sanction of Krishna. So we say that Krishna gave us a house and he took it away. I was not attached to it. Attachments to things gives us distress, and that's the reason we are not able to chant or we lose faith in Krishna. But if we say that Krishna, he gave me this house, it was not mine in the first place, and he took it because it is under direction of Krishna that this fire is going on and taking away people's possessions. So nothing happens without the sanction of Krishna. So he took it away. Okay, then Krishna show me the path. I'm not attached to anything and live simply in whatever situation Krishna wants to place us, but we should never lose faith in Krishna. That's where when we say more you sweat during peace, less you will bleed during war. Because many people they say, "How I was a devotee of yours, why did you do this to me? I will not chant your name or whatever." That should not happen.
Mhm. Right. So in 2.7, that Arjuna is like Krishna is telling him to fight, right? I mean, he's so we have to fight in our situation.
Yes,
Get out of it.
yeah, that's why
correct.
they say if you are already humble, then if you're not devoted, if you're not surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna will make a situation. But if you're already surrendered, then Krishna is like they say, if you are not humble, then Krishna will arrange a situation to be humbled, for you
Mhm.
to be humbled, and then when he does surgery with he does it without anesthesia, so it will be very. But if you're already humble and if you're already surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna may not.
Or no matter what happens in your life, it will not affect you. Dvaita Bhadra Bhadrangan E Manodharma. It will not affect you. You will be equipoised in happiness and distress. It will not be able to shake you up. Yam labdhva chaparam labh manyate nadikam.
So before, yeah, so before the situation
I
happens,
have
we should think that we are already in that situation, like
Right.
because yeah, then it will become serious. Yeah,
Yeah, already
uh,
thinking that we don't have a house. We, as an illusion, we are thinking we have a house.
of course we are living in the house. So yeah,
But an illusion is this is my house.
Yeah.
Anytime we can be asked to kick out of this. Even our body is not ours. We can be asked to be kicked out of this at any moment. We are
That's why we
thinking
say,
this is
yeah.
my body and this is my house. That is an illusion.
That is why we have to practice detachment.
Right.
We have to cultivate vairagya, like voluntarily we have to practice detachment, knowing that everything will be taken away. So when that time comes, and because you have practiced detachment, then okay, it's like they say die before dying, right? They say die before dying. Means at death everything will be done. So just do it before. Just practice like that before. Then when it happens, then you will not be in distress. So Krishna
Right.
is also saying, Abhyasena tu kante vairagyana chagriyate. So you have to cultivate detachment, and then it will be easy. So of course we say devotional service to Krishna brings about detachment automatically. So and then we have to also try. Like the good qualities. We say, yeah, devotional service will bring about the good qualities, but we also try to inculcate those good qualities. So that's both ways it is there. Yeah. But yeah, to become detached is like, yeah, this is the most difficult thing, right? Because we are attached to our body and everything connected to the body. So it all starts with first realizing I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. And that's the first step in spiritual
Yeah.
life.
I say akinchan, right? Akinchan means, I mean, someone who's uh, a beggar. Means he's begging for mercy. He doesn't think that he possesses anything. So we should be in the consciousness of a beggar. Actually, we don't have anything. We think that we have some money in the bank account, but banks can fail and may not give us any money at some, when wars happen or whatever. That means it's like an illusion that we have some money.
Yeah, and these are mock exams before the final exam. So whatever all these things are happening is a mock exam, right? In that way also we have to see these are all the distresses that are coming. They are like small time, this small distress compared to distress of death where you have to leave everything behind and go. So so that's how we have to prepare ourselves. Like when we do write an exam, we take exams, right? Many exams before we take the actual exams so to see how prepared we are. So all these things are like mock exams, and it shows when it actually happens. Then we know how much prepared we are. So yeah, so that is also another way to look at it. Of course, yeah, saying is everything, but everybody's spiritual advancement is determined or is known when the situation comes. Like Kadamba Karan Maharaj, he got cancer. He just said, I'll just go to Vrindavan, chant, and just obviously. Of course, it's not to say that you don't take cure, but when you come to know it's all going downhill, then you just become. Parikshit Maharaj also, when he came to know, now only 7 days, he just gave up voluntarily, he just gave up everything. Bharat Maharaj also voluntarily gave up everything, even though he was in a nice situation, but he a- anticipating that death is coming. So, and it is for everybody, death is coming. So then he gave up everything, all this. So we don't have to do like that, but internally we have to become like that. So
So we have
maybe,
to become spiritually very strong.
yeah, spiritually,
Spiritually, we chant more and
yeah, we have to become more spiritually stronger and absorbed in Krishna. That's how. So we are going to chant 64 rounds, right? One day on Monday, on January
Martin Luther King holiday is there, 20th.
20th of January, if you want to chant. How many rounds you want to chant? But this will like it's good because when we have to, huh?
what 20th?
20th of
We
January.
are not. That's why we will come in the morning. I think afternoon.
Oh, 20th you are coming back. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, in the future also you can join us. So like Okay, so 8:40 already. So the thing is, like, if somebody is disturbing us, we can tolerate also um, in our spiritual life. We can tolerate and carry on with our spirit because, as Preeti was saying, it's also internal. And sometimes in disturbance, you can also cry out to Krishna more than in a peaceful situation. So that's why Kunti Devi is saying, "Give me more distress so I can, my remembrance of you will be stronger." And like that. And then we will not have to again come into the. So you can make more spiritual advancement also when in disturbed condition because then you can cry out to Krishna with great feeling. So, but if it disturbs that we even don't like can't even practice Krishna consciousness, then we have to be away also. So otherwise we can't even chant if we are disturbed. So we have to be away from the disturbance so we can chant peacefully. So it depends on yeah
Everybody's tolerance levels.
tolerance level and all this yeah. So but in one purport Prabhupada says Arjuna like family he had to shoot arrows against his family. So he did that because Krishna wanted it. So anything that is in 13.8 through 12, he says, if it's an obstacle to my bhakti, then I, then there, even he doesn't want to kill, but he has to kill. So he says right that, um, he says, if one can mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness following this four principles, there is no need to change from family life. But if it is not congenial, somebody is getting abused and things like that, not favorable for spiritual advance, then family life should be abandoned. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Arjuna did not want to kill his family members. But when he understood that these family members were impediments to his Krishna realization, he accepted the instruction of Krishna and fought and killed them. So, in all cases, one should be detached from the happiness and distress of family life because in this world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. Detached from this, so all these things are there. Okay. Hmm. So we go back to our, we can hear something. Yeah, we read this. Then what happened?
We were on 5.
5. Okay, yeah. Read one more verse. King Rahugana could understand the speeches given by the carriers, who were afraid of being punished. He could also understand that simply due to the fault of one person, the palanquin was not being carried properly. Knowing this perfectly well and hearing their appeal, he became a little angry. Although he was very advanced in political science and was very experienced, his anger arose due to his inborn nature as a king. King are in mood. Actually, King Rahugana's mind was covered by the mode of passion, and he therefore spoke as follows to Jada whose Brahman effulgence was not clearly visible, being covered like a fire covered by ashes. The distinction between Rajoguna and Sattva is explained in this verse. Although the king was a very upright and advanced in political science and governmental management, he was nonetheless in the mode of passion, and therefore, due to slight agitation, he became angry. Jada despite all kinds of injustice endured because of his deaf and dumb display, remained silent by the strength of his spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, his Brahma Teja, his Brahman effulgence was indistinctly visible in his person. Okay, so Jada, because Rahugana, when he became angry because he had this great estimation about his position, he was thinking later on, Jada Bharat will say, when one has very high estimation of oneself, a proud person becomes angry very easily when they are offended. Durvasa Muni, right? Even little water Amrish Maharaj took. He took it as a great insult to him. So this is a proud person feels that everybody should respect him. And if he is not getting that respect like Indra, then he becomes very angry. Because there is an expectation of. So Rahugana was thinking, these are all labor class people. I am the king. They are meant to, do what I say. How can they be not doing proper service to me? So he became angry. So we know when our desires are not fulfilled, Krishna also says, Kama Krodho Abhichayate. When desires are not fulfilled, then you become angry. So he became angry. This is material anger. There is transcendental anger, but this is material anger because he was not getting respect. So, okay. And Jada Bharat, he was already he was humble, so he did not get angry. Prabhupada says here that he remained silent because he was not in need of respect. This was the criteria to find out who is the Supreme Lord. Right? When Bhrigu Muni went to find out who is Supreme, the criteria was one who is not in need of anything or one who is Atmaram. So then everybody got agitated. Brahma got agitated, Lord Shiva got agitated, but Vishnu did not. So that's how he concluded. This is Supreme. Yeah, anything to say?
One who is above the modes, Trigunatit.
Trigunati. Yeah, means not agitated by external situations. So that's Vishnu. Okay. Sometimes, they have to, Kshatriyas have to become agitated because they have to administer justice. So, okay, so we'll stop here and 8:50 we can hear something for 10 minutes. So Garuda story, where somebody asked us about, so I was thinking we'll hear about Garuda. Dhwani was on the call. Is Dhwani there? Yeah, Dhwani is there. So let's see. We'll hear about Garuda. This, I think,
imparted by Shukadev Goswami. The Mahabhagavata therefore does not make any distinction particularly between a devotee and non-devotee. Maharaj Parikshit was such a Mahabhagavata devotee because he was initiated by a Mahabhagavata devotee, Shukadev Goswami. He was equally kind even to the personality of Kali, and what to speak of others. So, there are many instances in transcendental histories of the world of an impersonalist who has later became a devotee, but a devotee has never become an impersonalist. This very fact proves that on the transcendental steps, the step occupied by a devotee is higher than the step occupied by an impersonalist. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita that persons stuck on the impersonal step undergo more sufferings than achievement of reality. Therefore, knowledge imparted by Shukadev Goswami unto Maharaj Parikshit helped him attain the service of the Lord. And this stage of perfection is called apavarga, or the perfect stage of liberation. Simple knowledge of liberation is material knowledge. Actual freedom from material bondage is called liberation, but attainment of the transcendental service of the Lord is called the perfect stage of liberation. Such a stage is attained by knowledge and renunciation, as we have already explained, and perfect